Welcome to Module 2, Lesson 2, Python Operators. We start with the most basic operators. By operators I mean operation which you can perform between variables. For example, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and others which we'll see later. But for now, let us start with these most basic operators. Let us start with addition. Let us create a variable known as a, and let us assign an integer value of 75. Let us create another variable known as b, and let us assign the value of 89. And let us add the two values, and then store the answer to a variable known as c. Then now we can print the variable c, and you can see that it prints 164. Let us perform also some subtraction. Let us create a variable again known as a, assign a value of 78. Let us create a variable b, assign a value of 67. Then let us take a minus b and assign it to c. Then let us print c. You can see it prints 11. Let us perform also multiplication. This will be a. Let us assign the value of, let's say 14 rather. B, let us give it a value of 10. Let us take a, multiply by b, and assign it to c. Let us print c. It gives us a value of 140. Let us also take a and assign it to a value of, let's say 50, and b, assign it to a value of 10. And let us take c, which will be a, divide by b, and let us print c. This will be 5.0. So these are the most basic operators in Python: addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication. The next operators that we're going to look, they are called relational operators. These are operators that show relationship between two variables. They define whether a variable is greater than the other, or whether a variable is less than the other, or these two variables are equal. Let me show you how. Let us now create two variables. Let's say variable a, and let me assign a value of 10, a variable b, and let us assign a value of 20. So now, if I want to check, or rather confirm the relation between these two variables, I can say if a is less than b, and then if I run this, it will print true, because actually a, which has a value of 10, is less than b, which has a value of 20. But if I say a is greater than b and I run this, it will print false, because a, which has a value of 10, is less than b, which has a value of 20. Actually, now a cannot be greater than b. That is why it is printing false. And again, if I say a is equal to b, as you can guess, it ought to print false, because a is not equal to b. If I run this code, it prints false. If I say a is not equal to, you write like this, to b, it will print true, because actually a is not equal to b. A has a value of 10 and b has a value of 20. So actually a is not equal to b. And those are the relational operators which are used in Python. The next type of operators that we are going to look are known as logical operators. These are operators that are used to evaluate two or more Boolean statements. Let us see in example how it works. Here I have four statements which can be either true or false. The first statement is Kevin loves vegetables. These are true statements because I love vegetable, like a vegetarian. The second statement is Kevin loves dancing. This is a false statement because I don't love dancing. The third statement is Kevin loves reading. This is a true statement because I love reading, like a reader. The fourth statement is Kevin loves swimming. I cannot become a swimmer if already I'm a reader, so I don't love swimming. So this is a false statement. So, for example, if I say Kevin loves vegetables and Kevin loves dancing, these all statement evaluates to a false statement. Why? Because I love vegetables, however, I do not love dancing. Let us see in code. If I say a, and this means Kevin loves vegetable and Kevin loves dancing, and if I run this code, it prints false because I don't love dancing. However, if I say A, Kevin loves vegetables, and C, Kevin loves reading, if I run this code, it evaluates to true because I love both vegetables and I also love reading. But if I say Kevin loves vegetables and Kevin loves swimming, this evaluates to false because I love vegetables, however I do not love swimming. And again, if I say Kevin loves dancing, which is a false statement, and Kevin loves swimming, which is also a false statement, this evaluates to a false statement because I do not love both of the things which have been mentioned. So I want you to notice that while using the AND operator, it only evaluates to true if both of the statement A and B are true. Let us look at the OR operators before we can go into actual implementation and how we can apply it in the real world situation. So let's say, for example, with this same statement, if I say Kevin loves vegetables or Kevin loves dancing, I can write it like this: Kevin loves vegetables or Kevin loves dancing. If I run this code, you see it prints true. Why? Because it is actually true when I say Kevin loves vegetables or Kevin loves dancing. I love one of the two, which is vegetables. And if I say Kevin loves vegetables or Kevin loves reading, this also evaluates to true because I love both. And if I say Kevin loves reading or Kevin loves, let me just look here, Kevin loves swimming, which is D, if I run this code, it also evaluates to true because I love reading but I do not love swimming. And if I say Kevin loves dancing, which is B, or Kevin loves swimming, which is D, this evaluates to false. So with the OR statement, it evaluates to true except when all the statements are false. Let me just add a comment here so that you can be able to understand. Let me say logical operators. Let me say AND evaluates to true only if all the statements are true. Let me say OR evaluates to false only if all the statements are false. Remember, I promised that we'll see a real world example and how we can apply what we have learned so far. Now, assuming that you have a shop, and in this shop you have several items, and with each item you have a price and a tax. But also on the other side you have a cashier who enters into the system a price and a tax when a customer comes to buy something. I hope that makes sense. And also it calculates a total price. So here we have the price, which is for the items in the system, and also you have the tax associated with the item in the system. On the other side, we have the cashier enters a price when a customer comes to buy something, and also enters a tax for that item, and also calculates the total price for that item. And so you want to do some validation in order to ensure that the cashier enters the correct price and also the correct tax in the system. How can you do this? I'll use what we call the if statement. We are going to look deeply at the if statement, so don't be worried. We'll consider that in a moment. I will use the if statement. So what I'm saying literally is, if everything I'm going to put inside these brackets evaluates to true, then execute the codes that follows. So I'll say if A, which is the entered price by cashier, is equal to the price which is originally in the system, and the entered tax by the cashier is equal to the tax which is in the system, only and only then can you perform the total price, which will be the entered price, which is A, plus entered underscore tax. So the total price here, what I'm saying literally, if this statement right here evaluates to true, which means this first statement is true, the total price is equal to the price being entered into the system, and also the entered tax is equal to the tax in the system, only and only then can we perform the addition of the price and the tax being entered into the system. I hope that makes sense. So if I print this total price and run my code, you see down here it prints 300. Why? Because the price A, the price being entered into the system is 250, and also the price which is in the system is 250, and the entered tax is 50, and also the tax in the system is 50. And so these statements inside here evaluates to true, and hence this code is executed. What about if the cashier tries to enter something like 200? What will happen? Let us run the code. You'll find that nothing is printed because our code right here is not being executed. And remember, when you are using AND, this both statement inside here will only be true, or rather evaluate to true, only if this statement is true and this other statement is true. And so what happened here is that I've changed the entered price to 200, which makes this statement to be false, while this other statement is true. And so all this statement using the AND operator evaluates to false, and hence this code will not be executed. And that is how we can use all these statements, or rather what we have learned in the real world situation. Thank you.